Yeah. Shachianu after candles and Kiddush. Check 1 2. 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Huh? Well, huh?
Chag Sameach, everybody. Come on in. Right. Chag Sameach, we are going to get started, starting with a familiar song, a familiar melody. It is so good to all be here together.
ורחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברחים גם יחד, 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 הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברחים גם יחד.
So we are so glad to be here with you, closing out our High Holy Day season and doing so by celebrating that central piece of our tradition that brings us all together by celebrating Torah, and in doing so, celebrating all of you, everybody who is what we call either a teacher or a learner or both of Torah, which we all are in so many different ways. And so we'll start out with lighting our festival candles and Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Please rise as we join together in our festival Kiddush. Is my microphone on? Yeah? Okay. It's hard to tell from up here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kishanu b'mitzvotav v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava moadim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom hashmini chag hadzeret azeh zman simchatenu mikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim muadei kodshecha b'simcha v'sason hinchatanu baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael ve'hazmanim. Amen. L'chaim. A sweet holiday indeed. And we mark this special moment, which is special for so many various reasons, with the words of Shechianu. You could be seated. Our blessing for reaching special moments, particularly this holiday of Simchat Torah, and this very special day for a variety of reasons.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Shecheanu
v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
So each year on Simchat Torah, we do what we will do tonight, which is we finish the very, very end of our Torah reading and we start the whole thing over from the beginning. So the question that we ask each year is, why do we read the same book over and over and over again each year? And the answer that I love the most is that it's because it's not just a story that we finish, but it's a story that we live. Every year we travel through those same sacred words, but each year, though the words are the same, we are different, and that helps us see the story in different ways. It's like rereading a favorite book and seeing something new. Maybe this year you'll notice something different about Noah. Maybe you'll notice something different about Joseph. Maybe you'll see how the Israelites kept walking even when they were scared and have a new perspective on their journey. Torah grows with us and Torah grows through us. And this year, as we begin again, we also want to take a moment this evening to acknowledge the new chapter in our people's story. We are exactly 2 years after the horrors of October 7th, 2023. And after so much longing, we have witnessed a sense and experienced a sense of redemption today. Hostages returning home and families reunited, hope rising again after an unthinkable darkness. The blessing, Baruch atah Adonai matir asurim, blessed are you Adonai who frees the captive, has become so incredibly real on this day. And as we hold this redemption in one hand, we have the reality that there's still a sense of grieving in the other. That for those families whose loved ones are no longer living, there are still 28 of them that have yet to be returned. The book of Kohelet reminds us for everything there is a season. There's that piece. It says, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. And tonight is that sacred meeting place where mourning and dancing hold hands with one another. So that's what we'll do, right? As we unroll the Torah and begin again, we hear the echo of Psalm 126. It paints a stirring vision of Israel's redemption, a time of homecoming and hope as the Jewish people return to their land. It's a song of return. It says, when God restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like dreamers. Even joy after pain carries memory of tears. And that's the promise of Torah, that from chaos can come creation, from darkness can come light, from despair can come covenant. We turn the scroll and we begin again. So as we hold both grieving and joy together this evening, we know those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Sing with us.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will
so we will indeed experience joy this evening, the joy of Torah. And in order to do that, this is a bit of an interactive evening. In just a moment, we're actually going to ask you to stand up, both as we take the Torah out of the ark, and we are going to unroll the Torah as we do on Simchat Torah to be able to see it for all it is. And we're going to do so in the other half of this room. So in just a moment, we'll invite you to rise, and we'll take the Torah out of the ark, and we'll begin the process of unrolling. We'll need everybody's help who is able to stand and help us hold the Torah, and those that would like can feel free to pull a chair up as well to the other side, and let's take the Torah out of the ark. Please rise.
Ki mitzion
Tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion Tetzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato.
All right, we are going to head over. We're going to follow the Torah and begin to unroll. Over, don't be shy. We're going to make a big circle. Be very careful just to hold the very tips of it. You can come on over here, start making a circle.
Honey,
Yes, we can come in a little bit closer, but having some extra people is good. It means that if anybody feels like they need to tap out, we've got people to jump in. Wow, this is always so fun. Everybody just take a look around, soak it all in. And before we start, I want to take a moment with the Torah here as we are about to engage in some learning of Torah to bless our study of Torah. So feel free to join with me in our blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So on this night of Simchat Torah, we don't just read Torah, we don't just learn Torah, but what I love to do is literally walk through Torah, right? To experience it to the fullest capacity. And so that is what we are going to do tonight. Couple of fun facts before we start. This is our, I think, our smallest Torah, give or take. It's like a little compact. Can anybody tell me, does anybody know how many words are in Torah? Take a guess. 100,000? 900,000 words. Okay, so words, 79,976, right? Okay, a lot of words. How many letters are in Torah? These are just fun facts I like to know. 304,805. These are Jeopardy questions. Right? But a little bit more, we'll call it intention-based. Can anybody tell me a little bit about what is a Torah made out of? This one might be a little bit easier to answer. Right? So we have, what was the Torah made out of? The skin of an animal with a parchment, stone, right? So every part of the Torah, every single part, is made out of something that comes from a living thing or a living being. From the Eitzaim, from the wood, to the parchment, to the ink, to the quail feather that is used to write the Torah. The idea that this is a living document is not just metaphorical of how we walk through it and how we bring ourselves to it, but the idea of the Torah being a living document is that it comes from our natural world in such a powerful way. So that is just a little bit about Torah. But before we start walking through it, which we are going to do the power version of Torah, we are excited to be honoring. I'll let you.
Absolutely. So I wanted to make special mention of this specific Torah scroll, which is part of, it is not actually our congregation's. We do not own it. It is owned by a trust called the Czech Memorial Scrolls Trust, which is based in London, England. And this Torah scroll was taken, it was plundered from the Jewish communities in Czechoslovakia, along with hundreds of other Torah scrolls that were then stored in a warehouse by the Nazis during World War II. And we don't exactly know what they planned to do with those scrolls. The prevailing theory is that they wanted to use them as part of a museum to a dead people, to a museum for the dead Jewish people. And so, thankfully, they did not succeed, of course, and eventually these scrolls were found. If anyone's ever read the children's book, or they just recently came out with an animated film for it, The Tattooed Torah, it beautifully retells the story. And eventually, a brighter person than I made the decision that these Torah scrolls should not just be held in a museum, but that they should be sent out into the world to have life, Jewish life, continue through them and in them. And so the Torah scroll that we are using as one of our many Torah scrolls here, but specifically tonight, we are breathing life into this scroll. And by living Jewishly, by living with joy, that is the best thumb in the eye that we could give to the Nazis of old. So I wanted to make special mention of our special Czech Memorial Trust Torah scroll. Oh, yes. So microphones. To bless our Torah reading for today, I would invite everyone from this past year's Embracing Judaism course to please join me, kind of right here, right at the end and the beginning that is the end. Yes, find a spotter, find a spotter. Y'all come into the circle. Pass these out. And they will bless our Torah reading. We got 2 of them. Don't worry.
Count of 3.
1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Banu Mikol Hamim Venatan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. Yasher Koach. Well
Yasher
done.
Koach. Hang tight. We're going to do the blessing after in just a couple of minutes, but we are not doing a normal Torah reading here. We are highlighting through Torah, we'll say. Okay, so what happens in the story of our Torah, right? We begin with Bereshit. We're actually going to come back to Bereshit, to the very beginning of Genesis. So we're going to put that on pause. We are making our way through Genesis, the story of creation, and the story of our matriarchs and patriarchs. And Genesis is where we meet Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebekah and Jacob and Leah and Rachel. And after our stories of creation, after our stories of Noah, we reach the story of where Abraham makes the covenant with God. Right around here, we read the words, Vayomer Adonai al Avraham lech lecha. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Lech lecha, right? Lech lecha is where God tells Abraham to go forth from the land that his father raised him in to the land that God will show him, right? Which we know eventually will be the land of Israel and the promised land. So we continue on our story, our matriarchs, our patriarchs. We reach what we call the Akedah, which is we read this part of the Torah on Rosh Hashanah. It is the binding of Isaac. It is a moment of testing, a moment of the testing of the faith of Abraham. And one of the most powerful words, I believe, in all of Torah happen here. We read, V'hi ahar hadavarim ha'ela Elohim nisa et Avraham vayomer elav Avraham vayomer hineni. God calls out to Abraham, and Abraham responds, Hineni. Does anybody know what Hineni is? Here I am, right? It is the moment when Abraham responds to God and says, here I am present, I have arrived, right? I am here in covenant and in connection with you, and I trust your faith, right? We are continuing on with our story, and what we are looking for is some other highlights of Torah, right? And we don't just have highlights of Torah that are based in story, but this is also a written document, and there are clues within our text of what are the most important things, right? What are some things we noticed about the text, right? It's in Hebrew, of course, right? There are some really interesting moments of spacing, right? So some of it is just your average paragraphs, and some of it is beautiful poetic writing. And right here, we have, that's okay, we are in Exodus. We have made it through Genesis. The Israelites are in Egypt. The Passover story has just happened, and they are at the shores of the sea.
Az yashir Moshe uvnei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai veyomeru lemor. I'm going to do an unorthodox melody. Ashira ladonai ki goga, Ashira ladonai ki goga, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nachita bechastecha am zugalta, Nachita bechastecha am zugalta, Ashira, 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 Ashira ladonai ki goga, Ashira ladonai ki goga, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. There can be me. Okay, we can stop there. We can stop there.
So what was familiar there is that throughout our Torah text, we don't just have stories. We find some of our liturgy, right? We find some of our prayers. Yeah, great question. So this is considered one of a couple of places, we'll point out the other ones, that it's actually, the name for that section is called the Song of the Sea. So it's intended to not just be story, it's actually intended to be a song, right? To be a piece of poetry. So we have the Song of the Sea.
Real quick. Something I learned is that if you look very carefully at the Song of the Sea, it's obviously formatted in a unique way. I have always thought that it kind of looks like waves crashing into one another. Obviously a way of creating that dramatic moment of the Israelites making their way through the parted waters.
Yes. Metaphors all over Torah. But absolutely that comes from a midrash, sort kind of an addition to Torah, that illustrates that that piece of text in a way that matches the intention of the story. Feel free to jump in with other questions. Love to be interrupted for the purpose of learning. So please, please, please. Other questions? Yes.
Are there any numbers for the section, or text is just marked by name?
There are no numbers. The chapters are separated. The books are separated by spaces. We'll find you one right here, right? This separates the book of Genesis and Exodus. But other than that, usually a Torah portion will start at the beginning of like a line, but I don't think always.
Not always.
Not always.
Right?
It's
When we were going through and marking all the points we were going to highlight, it was not the easiest
right.
job
It's
in the
a
world.
skill.
So why is the Torah both right and justified? Is there a reason for that?
Sorry?
It's right and left justified.
It's so straight.
I have always been taught that is the Sofer's preference. It's a stylistic choice.
Ah.
Yes.
Does the Song of the Sea ordinarily have a different trope?
Yes.
That is also a great question. Yes, the Song of the Sea has a different trope to it.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
All right, and so right here, we're going to continue on with our tour. We just left Egypt, right? We crossed the Red Sea. We have reached Mount Sinai, and we have reached where I just pulled this from here. The first mention in the Torah of the Ten Commandments, right? A pinnacle moment for the Jewish people. It is, the text looks a little bit different based on spacing, but part of that is because the Ten Commandments are a series of short stanzas, right? Short lines that are fit in. I actually don't. Do you know of a symbolic meaning of the spacing of the Ten Commandments? You know? No.
I do not.
So we've reached the Ten Commandments.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yes.
Why are some letters longer than other letters?
That is a great question. Does anybody know? Do you know?
My understanding is that you need to have a certain amount of words in each line, and so sometimes you'll see like a resh or a daled that's longer than the rest of the letters. I don't know, Rabbi, if there's
and also, like, you can't go TAM hyphen
Right.
holy or SISS hyphen sisman on the next one. You have to finish the word.
Right, and so sometimes you're going to extend certain letters to be able to make sure everything fits. This would be a nightmare for me because my spatial awareness is not very good.
And what I have always also understood is that each sofer writes a little bit differently, right? There are essentially different fonts based on what sofer is writing the Torah that changes a little bit how the spacing is. Okay, so we are continuing on. We are in the book of Exodus, and we reach a very special moment, not necessarily in universal Torah, but we reach a special moment in our Torah because we have every single year, throughout the year, a very special tradition that happens everywhere, but excited to celebrate it here. Our young people are called to Torah as bar and bat mitzvah, and we have a representative of last year's class to chant a line of her Torah portion. So we are in the book of Leviticus.
Amen. Vadaber Adonai Ela Shalemor. Zot Tieh Torah Hamsorah Vayom Et Torto V'chuva El HaKohen.
Beautifully
Beautiful.
done. Beautifully
Yasher
done. Yeah, Paige, do you want to tell us a little bit about what your Torah portion is about? That's okay.
Don't worry.
That's all right.
All good. Okay, so then we get past that Paige just read from Leviticus 14. We are heading over to Leviticus 19. And Leviticus 19 here is a very special moment because Leviticus 19 it's over here.
Yes.
Okay. Leviticus 19 is what we call the Holiness Code. And the Holiness Code is a piece of the Torah that calls us to holiness through love and responsibility. It is one of the places in the Torah where we find the line. Does anybody know what line? Ve'ahavta Anybody finish it? Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Just love your neighbor. And the other very special thing about the Holiness Code is that it is exactly halfway around the Torah, right? So we are exactly at the halfway mark. And there's something symbolic about that. The piece of the Torah that lifts us up in holiness, that instructs us on responsibility of how to walk through the world as righteous people, as caring people, is in the literal center of our Torah reading. And that's something I've always found very special. Questions? Going to pause here. Anybody else come up with something?
This is your time to quiz the rabbis about the Torah. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Right to left and no left to right.
Phew.
Why? Why is Hebrew right to left and not left to right?
What's the same in Arabic?
We're accepting help.
Yes.
The best Scrabble word is boustrophodon, which means as the ox plows. So with language, the ox would go like this, and then like this, and then like this. So some languages, I don't know Asian languages, but I believe they go up and down.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the ox. It depends where you start. So it's not just related to Hebrew, but related to all. Some go up and down, some go left, right. We read right, left. As the ox plows.
That's a good one. I didn't know that one. And generally Semitic languages, so Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic, anything that's kind of in that sphere are all right to left languages. And I believe the early Hebrew alphabet was based off of the Phoenician alphabet. And I believe ancient Phoenician was also written right to left.
Okay, so we are continuing on, and right where Emily is standing is a very, very special part of the Torah. It is the part where we find the words, Yevorachecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panave lecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panave lecha v'yasem lecha shalom. We find the words of the priestly blessing. These are words that we still use today to bless our children, to bless community members at really important moments in our lives, at pivotal moments in our lives, and something so powerful that the words that we use to invoke God's blessing come directly from our Torah scroll.
Rabbi, I think you missed probably the most important part of the Torah.
Did I?
Which is right here at the beginning of Numbers. Can anyone guess what this is? It kind of looks a little different.
Oh, yes, I did miss this.
This is basically picking lottery. No, this is the census.
The census.
This is where you get the numbers of everyone in every different tribe and who's the leader of the tribe. So I just wanted to be sure to point out all of the important administrative paperwork involved in
All the name possibilities for children.
Yes, exactly. You might also go to the beginning of Genesis and look at the generations before and after Noah for some very fun names. So the other little spaces, sometimes they're just there because it begins a different section. Generally, the sections are divided based off of content and theme, meaning you'll have a specific, I'll give a quick example, you'll have a section that's all about how do you build the menorah and the 7-branch candelabrum in the Torah, or in the temple, and then it moves on to building the tabernacle or something like that. So oftentimes there might be a gap between there, whereas, for example, with very important things like the 10 Commandments or the priestly benediction where you have larger spaces, the spaces also indicate those moments as well.
Or like when we get to Mary, that's the last poem. That's the
Yes.
last song of Moses.
Yes. All right. Continuing on, we are almost done. We have reached the book of Deuteronomy. And yes, vowels. There are no vowels written in the Torah. It's one of the things that makes reading Torah fun and fascinating and a little bit of a challenge. And exciting.
In fact, I'm going to give a fun fact from reaching back from the depths of rabbinical school. So the system that we use to chant and to read the Torah is the Masoret system. It was developed by this group of scholars that lived in Tiberias in the land of Israel. And this system, we believe, comes from around the 10th century, 11th century. But it is not the only system of vowels used to point Hebrew. That's the technical term when you add the vowels in. In different areas of the world, they actually had different pointing systems, but the Masoretes were very adept, and they were very in tune with kind of how the original Hebrew likely would have been pronounced, chanted, and so on and so forth, and so that became the dominant one. When I was in Los Angeles, where Rabbi Sternberg was ordained, there was a teacher there who had a version of the Talmud that was pointed not using the vowels that we use, but pointed according to the Yemenite tradition. And he would sometimes read it in the special Yemenite way of pronouncing Talmud. Just a little fun fact.
Right. So we are in the book of Deuteronomy. We are getting to the end.
Another question.
Another question before we do. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are they longer? Are the final letters longer than the rest of the letters?
Are the final letters longer? Yes, they are. So they go. So the letters that would be longer. So you're thinking specifically of like a final nun.
I am looking at a final nun right now.
Yes, they go below. You know, when we're all learning how to write, and you get those booklets, and they have it's like 3 different lines in it, and some letters go, like a D goes above the top line, and there are certain letters that go below that line, and if you look very carefully, you can see those letters go below the line.
All right. Now we're in Deuteronomy, and I have spotted right here a very important line. Where was it? It's right here. It goes, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Right? We know that one. It is followed by the Ve'ahavta, part of the Ve'ahavta, and another moment similar to Mi Chamocha, where our liturgy is coming directly from our biblical text. Continuing on.
Can I ask a trivia question, Rabbi?
Yes.
So
we love a trivia question.
We go through Ve'ahavta, and then there's that last paragraph that we chant, right? Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai. Can anyone tell me what book of the Torah that comes from? It is not Deuteronomy. It would be too easy. It is from the book of Numbers. And so, throughout our prayer book, and those of you who have taken the Midrash class with me, one of the amazing things is that when we think of Torah and in the Jewish mindset, it's not just all of these things happening in order, it's actually creating connections between right where Sarah is standing and likely right about where Nancy is. And you put those 2 paragraphs together because they are very similarly themed. And so it's not just big chunks, but it's actually taking chunks that are centering around similar themes and putting them together. If we were to roll out the book of Psalms, we could have a field day with that. But next year. Exactly.
All right. So we are at the very end of Torah, just about the very end, and you see another moment in Torah where the spacing looks a little different, right? The 2 columns, and that is Ha'azinu, and that is Moses' last song. It is, Moses is at the end of his life. He is not making it into the land of Israel, and it is Moses' reflection that deserves, rightfully so, its own moment in Torah. And so that is at the very end, and what we do on Simchat Torah, when we get to the end of Torah, is we read the very, very last line, and then at the same time, we are going to start again the Torah. So, yes. That's a really long answer.
Yeah, we'll save that for dinner after.
So we're going to read the very last line and then just the very beginning as well.
Okay. Lo kam navi od b'Yisrael k'Moshe Asher yida'o Adonai panim el panim. There you go, Ricky. No, there was no prophet that arose that was in Israel that was like Moses, who knew God face to face. Lechol ha'otot v'amoftim asher shlacho Adonai. La'asod be'eretz Mitzrayim Lefaro u'lechol avadav u'lechol artso. Basically describing all of the signs and wonders and wonderful things that God did before Pharaoh in the land of Egypt and all those who served him. And here we come to the last line. U'lechol hayad HaChazaka Ulechol Hamorah HaGadol Asher Asa Moshe Le'enei Kol Yisrael.
And we will read just the very, very beginning. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. And in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And that is the beginning of our next cycle of Torah. And so for our blessing after, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Chata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch Chata Adonai. Amen. And before y'all can return and we're going to roll the Torah up, I want to offer a special blessing for this wonderful cohort of learners and prayers and really wonderful people who have stepped into the fold of the Jewish people this past year. It is customary to offer a blessing when someone performs an aliyah. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed all of our ancestors, our matriarchs, and our patriarchs, bless all of you with life and with goodness. May Torah, the words of Torah be sweet in your mouths, and may the sweetness that you bring not only to Torah but to the entire of the Jewish people be felt by all. Just earlier you read the blessing, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato, which means we are blessing God who has chosen us, Banu, us, from all of the other peoples. And we are so grateful that all of you are included in that us. And so, Mazel Tov once again, and may you be blessed with many years of Jewish joy, of Jewish meaning, and may you be a boon to our people and the Jewish people all over the world. And let us say together, Amen.
And before we literally wrap,
we're going to wrap this up.
Just a quick blessing for all of us as learners of Torah. Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all who teach and learn Torah. May our learning be rooted in love, our teaching guided by humility, and our words bring light and understanding to the world. May we be strengthened by one another in the pursuit of wisdom, and may the Torah we study be a source of blessing for us, for our community, and for all who dwell on earth. Amen. Let's carefully re-roll Torah. And then we will be able to join in the Sukkah for one last meal in the Sukkah of this season. It is the tree of life to them that'll postulate all of its supporters are happy. It is the tree of life to them that'll postulate all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. It's Chaim, it's Chaim, once again, so good to be together. Chag Sameach. Before we join in for the Sukkah with one last meal, yeah.
I had one final fun fact.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I can't resist. One final fun fact is that there are two things that we bless both before and after in Jewish tradition. Rabbis, you can correct me. This is my own fun fact that I've come up with. What are the two things that we bless both before and after we do them? Meals and Torah. So Torah is our nourishment in so many different ways.
So beautiful. So let's join together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Chag Sameach,
Chag
everybody.
Sameach.
There is dinner in the Sukkah.
Please enjoy a wrapped